Hi, everyone. I wanted to welcome you to our online English 300 course. I'm Dr. Wei. I will be your professor for the semester. In this video, I want to kind of go over some of the basics of the syllabus and some key policies. I'm not going to cover every single aspect. Part of your assignment for the first day is to look over the syllabus and really kind of make sure you're clear on all the policies and take a quiz to that effect. So I'm going to kind of hit on the big things. If you have questions at any point in this semester, if you're not sure about anything on the syllabus, please feel free to contact me and let me know, and I'll be glad to get back with you. So I'm Dr. Wei. I am in Morgan Hall 133 on campus, and that's where I am Tuesdays and Thursdays. Usually I teach on campus on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So if you are on campus during that time, 1, you are always welcome to stop by and drop in. You can also set up an appointment to meet with me if that doesn't work with your schedule. I'm glad to always meet and talk about it. If you have even just kind of small questions about an assignment or things you want to look at a draft or anything like that, I'm glad to kind of look at that. So if you're not nearby or you can't meet on campus, I'm always glad to meet Zoom, something like that too. You'll notice my phone number, my office phone number is there, 785-670-1917. You can call, and if I'm in the office, I'll obviously get it, but may not get it depending on when it kind of happens or when you call the weekend before I get back to you. So the best way, hands down, to get a hold of me is via email at washburn.edu. During the week, I will try to get back to you within 24 hours. In almost all cases, over the weekend, it'll be a little bit longer because I'm not always around checking my email constantly on the weekend, things like that. So any kind of general issues, that's definitely the best way to get a hold of me. So now this class, you're going to be doing a lot of work online. I'll get more into that in just a second. There is only one textbook that you'll need, and that is Everything's an Argument. It's the 7th edition. It's the brief version. This is kind of a slightly older one. There's a newer one that has a little label on the front that says, with the 2016 MLA update. You need to get a hold of that. The bookstore should have some copies. You can rent it from Amazon. Part of the reasons I choose is because it's pretty cheap and affordable to rent through sites like that. So that's the only book you need for the class. Everything else, all the other materials, I provided through D2L. The only other things you need for certain are, if you don't have Microsoft Word, you need to get it. You do need to use it and save most of your assignments in Microsoft Word format. And you can get that free through Washburn. And if you're not sure how to do that, just let me know, and I'm glad to share the information on that. Well, obviously, to have regular internet access, you can access D2L throughout the course. And you need to be accessing your Washburn email account. And you really should be checking that daily through the week, not just for this class, but in case you're getting important emails or anything like that. But much like I will get back to you within 24 hours, I expect if I have to email you about something during the week that you will respond to me in a timely manner. Itself is mainly broken down into 3 major units. So there, you'll notice in the syllabus there's a breakdown of the grade categories. Discussions, peer reviews, and work days. That's 22% a year grade, 140 points. So there'll be a couple discussions throughout the semester, like the first one that you'll be doing, just kind of introducing yourself to your classmates in a discussion board. So there's a peer review assignment for each of the 3 major writing projects. And while I'll get more peer reviews themselves, important aspects, and so they're worth a significant amount of points, and you need to make sure you're kind of always doing things on time. And then there are several work days built in for each of the major writing projects. So time devoted to writing, researching, all that kind of stuff. So I built in some days, and on those days, usually I just ask for some form of progress that you submit. So that's a significant chunk of your grade. There are also several learning activities. These are spread out throughout the 3 units, and these are kind of about regarding specific concepts or aspects of arguments, rhetoric, different things we're going to be talking about in the course. And we'll ask you to kind of build on those. activities. So the learning activities are 14% of your grade, 90 points total. And then there are 3 major writing projects. The first is the rhetorical analysis, which is 15% of your grade and 100 points total. The second is the community-based argument, which is 17% of your grade and 110 points total. And the third is the scholarly argument, which is 19% of your grade and 125 points total. So you'll notice each of those gets a little bit more involved, and there's a few more points involved as you build. And that's kind of the way this goes, is we're going to start with in the rhetorical analysis, and you're going to build into making arguments, and then finally crafting a scholarly argument in your third paper. Other than that, there is, at the end of the semester, also a final portfolio, which will collect all the work you've done throughout the semester with the major writing projects and present them. And when we get closer to the end of the semester, I will share more materials about the final portfolio. And that's 8% and 50 points of your grade. And then there are also a couple small reflection assignments. One starting out this week where you discuss your personal writing history and just kind of reflect on what it's been like for you in the past. And then there's a reflection at the end of each unit that I usually ask that you do, just to kind of think back on the work you've been doing. So yeah, that's 5% and 35 points. So you'll notice total 50 points in the course for you to earn. Right under that on the syllabus on page 3 is the kind of point breakdown. I'm not going to go over that whole thing, but you can see what level of points equals what grades throughout the course. And then following that is a schedule, kind of a basic rundown of the course with due dates and things like that. Something I'm not going to cover in a lot of detail, but you can look over it and always let me know if you have questions. And I've tried to make sure that's available, not just in the syllabus. There's also a course calendar up on D2L, a document for kind of tracking your progress, and with the breakdown of individual points for each assignment and the due date. So there's several different places for you to kind of make sure you have that information handy. That is kind of the overview of the course. I'll talk a little bit more about the major writing projects in just a minute. But the way this course is set up is that you're going to be working that you will have deadlines on Tuesdays and Thursdays most weeks, different assignments. And usually there are a set of materials, readings, videos, websites to do, and usually one assignment that is due with that. And that just kind of varies depending on where we're at in each unit. And so you will need to make sure that you're keeping up with the work and making sure you're meeting those deadlines, because are still graded, or well, not graded, but you still are measured on your attendance in this class. And you might ask, well, how is attendance measured in an online class? Well, basically that's by you submitting your work. So have it outlined in the syllabus. Your attendance is gauged by completing the weekly assignments on Tuesday and Thursday of every week. So if you miss one of those days, that's going to count as an absence. And I will usually allow, you have a couple of absences, so I know people have lives and that's everything. So that's kind of workable. And the big thing is if you have something come up along the way, especially because this is an online class, you need to contact me and let me know. I really have no idea what's going on in your life if you don't kind of inform me. So if something happens, like you break a leg, dies, you need to get a hold of me and we can work around that. But if I notice you're missing a significant amount of class and missing several assignments, I will usually contact you. If you miss more than 4 assignments, which basically is if you miss over 2 weeks of the course, you will fail the class. So with that, there is a late work policy in place. So this goes kind of hand in hand with talking about the writing projects. So with the writing projects, you have to turn all of those in order to pass the class, regardless of your grades on everything else. So you might do a really good job on the rhetorical analysis and the community-based argument, and then say, well, I'm just not going to do the scholarly argument. Fail the course for not completing that element. So for process-based work, which I'll come back to more in a minute, for the major writing projects, those drop boxes always remain open, but there is a late policy where those assignments are turned in late, it's going to be a letter grade or a significant amount of points off the assignment until it's turned in. Other assignments, learning activities, discussion boards, peer reviews, things like that, those are pretty firm deadlines. Peer reviews, especially when you are expected to submit a draft, you have to get that submitted to give your classmates and your group mates for the peer review time to look at your paper, complete the activity, and reply by the next deadline. So deadlines. In terms of learning activities, there is a due date set for those, and I will leave the Dropbox open for 24 hours after. And so you'll have the opportunity to turn it in. It will be considered late. It will be docked some points, but you'll still have an opportunity to turn it in for 24 hours after the initial deadline. After that, though, be accepted. It'll be counted as a 0. So, again, if you are having trouble with, you're not sure about deadlines, you're missing stuff, or especially if you have stuff come up and you're really struggling, please let me know. Come talk to me, set up a time to meet with me via video chat, and we can work on that stuff. And that's what I'm here to help with. But you have to let me know. So the writing projects. So there are 3 writing projects, and I want to kind of talk a little bit about how those are set up in D2L. So I believe in taking a process-based approach to writing, and that writing doesn't just happen. A final draft doesn't just appear, but there's a lot of work that goes into it. So for every project, you're going to have several process steps. So every project starts with a topic paragraph where you submit a paragraph proposing what you want to write on for that paper, and then I'll give you initial feedback on that. And then from there, there may be, so for the rhetorical analysis, the next process-based work will be the draft for the paper. But for, say, the community-based argument, you'll have a source list that's due. For the scholarly argument, you'll have an annotated bibliography. And so it's important that you have all of those elements done. And so those drop boxes always stay open, but you will not be able to submit the next part of the assignment until you submit the previous one and get my feedback. So you can't submit your rhetorical analysis draft until you have turned in your topic paragraph and gotten my feedback. So so that's kind of for a reason, and that's so I'm able to give you feedback and make sure your topic works, or you've got some good sources, things like that. So so you might notice in looking through a unit, well, a Dropbox or 2 might not show up yet, and that's because you haven't met the requirements for the previous one. So and so when I grade your writing projects, I do look a lot at the final draft. Obviously, that's pretty important, but not solely at the final draft. It's a combination of the process work and the final product as well that kind of gets calculated as you're graded. And that's something that I break down and talk about more in each of the videos I have that'll introduce the major writing projects. That a couple words about general kind of you should treat the online classroom the same as you would a face-to-face classroom. I expect you to act like you would in a class. That means respecting me, respecting your classmates. We don't have to agree, and I don't expect to agree on everything, and that's totally fine, right? That's part of the process, but you need to make sure that you are, especially when you do things like peer reviews, that you're respectful, right? That you realize that these are its colleagues, maybe friends who have written these papers, shared them with you in process, and are asking for feedback and things like that. So I also ask, and there's a couple of short readings in the very first day on how to email your professor. And it's not just about how to email me, but your other professors, and just really email etiquette in general, that you follow those types of guidelines, right? That you act professionally when sending an email. So usually that involves things like a greeting and getting straight to the point, things like that. So so make sure you're doing that. Don't plagiarize is kind of the you need to cite all sources in your papers, things like that. We'll come back to that, but you should never be passing off the work of somebody else as your own. If you do, that's plagiarism. If you plagiarize in a paper, you'll fail the paper. If you do it more than once, you can fail the class. So don't do it. So beyond that, I recommend exploring the syllabus and the introductory materials, and kind of letting me know if you have questions. Like I said, I am always available via email. I'm glad to set up video chats, and really I'm here to help you succeed in this class. I know an online class can be daunting if you've never taken one before, and even if you have, sometimes it can be a lot of work. And this is a 300 level writing course, which means that there is a significant amount of reading and writing involved, and you're going to stay on a pretty solid schedule. But that's why I have days built in that you're just working on drafting a paper, things like that. So basic overview, if you have questions, let me know. Oh, and there is also just kind of a general discussion board up on D2L on the course site that if you have general questions, feel free to post them there. I'll check regularly, and it's usually a good idea because if you have a question, you're probably not alone. But otherwise, I look forward to having you on the class and working with you all this semester and seeing what you come up with for the individual writing projects. Let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, good luck, and I look forward to hearing more from each of you this week.